Hey everybody, Prowl here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a creeper farm for Minecraft 1.21. These were broken recently in Minecraft 1.21 release due to a change with how mobs spawn in the game. So basically, if you have a creeper farm right now, odds are it's not working for you. That's by design. There was a parity change where they took mobs from spawning at the corner of blocks, the corner of a block, to spawning in the middle of a block. That broke a lot of the way that creeper farms were made to work. Honestly, they were kind of janky before. Now they work in a way that makes a lot more sense mostly. So I think overall it was a good change, but it does mean that you need to build a new farm. We're going to go over how they work and how to build one. I don't like to just tell you step by step, block by block, how to build something only. If you're looking for somebody that counts blocks for you in a monotone voice, I'm not the person. But if you want to learn how to make the thing, and then also I'll show you how to make it at the same time, you're in the right spot. You're going to learn something here today. I will give you a material list before we start building, so hang tight for that. And make sure you stay till the end because I do have a few final important notes to share at the end of the video, including the rates of the farm. So we have a few important things that you need to know when it comes to making a creeper farm. First of all, you need to know how to make it only spawn creepers. We do that with trapdoors on the tops of blocks. You'll see me do that. And you'll do that by blocking spiders from spawning, by putting something in the way of a spider to spawn. I'll show you that when we build the platform too. The two important things when it comes to making any mob-based farm in Minecraft Bedrock Edition is you want to make sure that the mobs spawn in as fast as possible, which means you need more spawning spots available. That's how you make mobs spawn in faster in Bedrock Edition. You give them more spots to spawn in. Bedrock Edition is not like Java Edition. Java Edition rushes those spawns in as fast as it can. Bedrock likes to take its sweet time. So we need to make sure there's lots of spawning spots available at all times. This is why we don't use water flushing systems and things like you see in Java Edition, because those things just make farms work too slow on Bedrock. And then we have to kill the mobs really fast because we have a low mob cap on Bedrock Edition. You have a density cap, which I'm not going to fully explain here, but basically for creepers, you can have 16 mobs alive in what's considered a cave cap, which is anything underneath a solid block. And you can have up to 5 creepers alive on the surface, meaning that there's clear sky above them. But we have a couple tricks to deal with that, so don't worry about it. So you can have up to 21 creepers alive at a time. You need to make sure you clear them out as quickly as possible. So we want to spawn those 21 in as fast as we can, but we want to kill them as fast as we can. That way we make more room for more creepers to spawn. And then last, we're going to talk about looting versus drop killing. Really, there's not much to talk about. Looting is the way I like to go. We make Trident Killers here on this channel, so that way we can get the looting effect. It's always been the most efficient to me. I don't feel like most of the time you can spawn mobs in quick enough to make drop killing worth it, unless you make a huge farm, at which point maybe it starts to become worth it to drop kill. And then lastly, let's talk about location. Location's pretty simple. You need to be at least 44 blocks above the ground on simulation distance 4. If you're playing on any system, doesn't matter what it is, by default your simulation distance is 4. So if you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. You're already playing on simulation distance 4, which is what we're designing this farm for. Now if you're on a higher end console or a PC, you maybe have changed your simulation distance to 6 or 8 or higher. The only note that I'll give you if you play on simulation distance 6 or simulation distance 8, 10, or 12 is you're going to want to go 128 blocks above ground, not 44 blocks. That's going to be the main difference in this farm, other than the fact that if you wanted to, you could build it a little bit taller and you would get a little bit better rates by doing that. But again, we're going to design this one for Sim 4. And then if you're on Sim 6 or higher, if you want to add a few more layers to the farm, you can add a few more layers vertically to the farm. It'll work fine. And then lastly, anywhere you want to build this thing is fine. Just do not build it above a river. Anything that could be considered a river, like that area out there, don't build your farm above that because creepers aren't going to spawn. Above the ocean, fine. Above a mountain biome or plains or whatever, a village, like all of that stuff is fine. None of that matters, just not over top of a river. So first thing I want you to do, and don't pay any mind to the tool I have on the top right hand side of the screen. I'll tell you what we're going to use that for a little bit later. I'm just too lazy to turn it off right now, if you want me to be honest. Go 40 blocks above ground where you're standing, and not only 40 blocks above ground, but like you wouldn't want to go 40 blocks above ground from down here, right? Because you have ground up there, or on the edge of a big mountain, because those blocks right there might be too close. Get yourself either away from any type of like large cliff faces Or instead of going 40 blocks, maybe go a little bit higher, maybe go 60 or 80. Higher is always fine. You just don't go lower, okay? So we're standing at Y level 77 here. Plus 40 would be 117. Let's just go ahead and call it 120. And if you don't know what I'm basing that off of, you see the coordinates in the top right-hand side of the screen. That's the 120 you see right there. That's the Y level that we're standing at. And I want to keep track of the center of my farm. So we're going to put a gold block right there. Make whatever way up here you want. Use scaffolding, use ladders, fly up here with an elytra. Whatever you want to do to get up here will be fine. Now we're going to start here with the platform where we're going to go out 18 blocks in each direction. I will tell you that most of this first platform is going to be empty. It's not going to have a lot, but we need to be able to get underneath some things that we're doing. So making a platform right here is going to make that a little bit easier. You can get rid of these blocks later, most of them if you want to, or you can maybe even get away with not putting a lot of them down. If you want to like watch the whole video first, you'll kind of see why we're making the platform. But for now, if you're just following along and building with me, 18 blocks in each direction and fill the whole thing in. Okay, once you have this platform, we're going to tackle this later. We're going to come back to it. You probably want to throw down a few torches though, because we're about to put another platform on top of this, same size, but about 10 blocks up. So wherever you are, I'm at 120 now. I'm gonna go up 10 blocks to 130, and I'm gonna make the same size platform right here. This is gonna be the platform that we AFK at. I'm gonna mark my center again, just like I did down there, because it's always good to keep track of the center when we're working on things. It's gonna make it easier once we get up top. Okay, now from our center block here, we're gonna go up 20 blocks. That brings me up to 150 here in my world. And we're just gonna kind of mark this spot right here. And then we're going to go up another 5, and I'm going to mark the corners of this just like that. Okay. We're going to mark this center spot. We're going to drop down here. We're going to mark this center spot. It's going to be important for us to know that here in a little bit. And now we're going to make another platform. This is going to be the platform that moves all of our mobs into the Trident Killers. We're actually going to have 9 different Trident Killers, but one big platform that splits them all up. It's actually pretty easy. So this platform, I want you to go 22 blocks out in each direction and fill in the whole platform. Okay, so we have our platform. It's 22 out in each direction. So it's a 45 wide platform. I just bordered it in a different block just to make it look good. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go up a layer all the way around, and then we're going to go up another layer all the way around. Now I'm going to use tinted glass for that next layer up, but for you, it just has to be a solid block. It doesn't really matter what solid block it is. The main thing is we're trying to make sure we block out any type of light from getting into the farm, and solid blocks are what do that. Now tinted glass does that as well, but other types of glass don't. So just don't put regular glass there. You're going to make your farm not work. But if you want to be able to see inside of your farm, something like tinted glass can be really nice for that. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place down some temporary blocks just to kind of mark where our dividers here on this floor are going to go. So we're going to skip the edge here, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to skip 1 and then go another 6. And then right here, we're going to put a divider like that. Then we're going to do the same thing again. 6, skip 1, and then put another divider, and then one more time. And doing it the last time, you should just end up with a space there at the edge. Those blocks are just temporary. You can get rid of those. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing in the other direction. Exact same thing. Count out 6, skip 1, count out 6, put a divider, 6, 6, divider. And then if you want to check to make sure that you're good that way, you can do the last ones, but you shouldn't need to at this point. All your measurements should be perfect. Now our dividers, we're just going to run those guys all the way across. These are permanent blocks. These are going to stay. And what you should end up with is this nice even checkerboard like pattern. We have 9 squares here. Each one of these squares is going to be a Trident Killer. The reason why we're doing this is because if we did our Trident Kill, like if we did our water flowing areas a lot larger, it takes the mobs that much longer to flow down the water, drop down the chute, and then die. We need to kill fast. Remember, that was one of our like pillars that we needed to focus on. Spawn mobs in really quick, kill mobs really fast. 9 Trident Killers will kill mobs really fast. This does mean that you're going to need 9 Tridents, at least, maybe upwards of 27. You want minimum 1 per Trident Killer, as many as 3 per Trident Killer. We'll go over how to build that a little bit later. I have a nice, easy, simple one to make. Okay, now in each one of the corners of the entire farm area, so not like the small corners, but all of the major corners. So these 1, 2, 3 and 4, go ahead and put a little L-shape connector just like this. I don't know why I called that a connector, but just bear with me. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna flood the whole area with water. We're gonna put one water block right here. We're gonna make all of this water. We're gonna make all of this water, all of this water, and all of this water to right here. This brings our water to a center point. We're gonna do that for all of these. And when you get to these little like middle areas right here, you only have to put water down the side like this. You'll come across the side like this, and that one's already there. And you should see your water always come to a nice midpoint. It's all floating right here. That's fine. As long as we don't have any dead spots where water is not flowing, then we're good to go. Go ahead and fill in the rest of your platforms with the water now. And then once you have all of those, in the 4 corners of the middle, I want you to go ahead and place one block in the center of each of all these intersections and put a water bucket on top of each of those. It'll just help make sure that mobs don't get caught up and kind of stuck in the center there. Now you may notice that the water right here is not running. I've tested this a lot. It's fine. Mobs do not get stuck here. They may very temporarily stop here, but in most cases, they just walk right off and go down to the middle, which now we need to actually set our little chutes where our mobs are going to fall down. I'm going to recommend that you use fence gates here because it's going to be the easiest thing to do. And what we're going to do is right there at the center point, we're just going to put down fence gates, open them up, and then knock out 4 blocks for the mobs to fall down. And it's probably going to work best if you keep all of these guys in line with each other. It's just going to look better in the end. So we're just going to keep that aligned here. Everything points to this area, so all of our water flow is good. We're going to continue to do this, continue to line everything up. So now this is what we should be looking at. You can see that they are all aligned with each other. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to set our Trident Killers. That way, as we build our farm, I don't know if it turns nighttime or something like that, or mobs, if anything spawns, it'll fall down in a Trident Killer, not fall down here and maybe blow us up. So we're looking at our center point, which is right here, and we can see that it's in, let's face the right way, it's in this corner. So that means that our center point is actually going, like where we stand is actually not going to be there. It's going to move a little bit. So I'm going to just grab our center point. I'm going to look at the corner that we're in, and I'm going to go over 2 blocks in either direction of that corner. So we're going to say that that's our new center point, and we're going to knock out these 4 blocks that are directly below the drop chute area. So we're going to put mud blocks right there, and you'll see why in a little bit. Now, to build our Trident Killer, we need to face the right-hand side as we turn here and place a piston, 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 and piston. You see, or should have noticed that I was facing the right-hand side for each one of those. We're now going to knock out the 2 blocks beside each piston. Now, I think this part we could do from above. If you stand on the piston, you kind of scoot back almost as far as you can. You place the observer down. Yes, it's facing the right way. So stand on your piston. Oh, don't fall down the hole like I just did right there. Stand on the piston, get back to the back corner, and then touch the corner of that mud block right there, and that'll face your observer the right way. Okay, there we go. And now we need a block to be underneath right here. This is one of the reasons why I had you make, really the main reason why I had you make such a big floor, is because you need to be able to get underneath each one of these locations and do this. So you're going to need room to move around. But you should see there, you're probably also going to want a way to get up and down. Maybe we'll put that kind of like close to here. I'm going to pop a hole right here, and I'm just going to put a bunch of scaffolding in it. But now, yes, you should have a block right there. I want you to go ahead and put a rail, a powered rail, in each one of those spots, and that makes your Trident Killer. So go ahead and have some levers with you to turn it on and off. You can just leave the levers as your on-off method for all of them individually, or you can run redstone to all of them and turn them all off and on with one switch. I'll end up doing that behind the scenes here in just a little bit, and I'll just show you what it looks like. But now that we have all this part done, that's good, right? So we can go through and we can block all of this off, except for one spot I'm going to leave to put a door so I can actually get in and out of this thing. And actually, I don't think I want to use this block for this. I want to use this block for this because I think it looks better. And we're just going to go ahead, stand on the inside here, place our door right there. And now all we got to do is connect this all the way up to the top, should see it connects right there to the corner. I do fill in the corners on these. If you don't, you run the risk of a creeper being able to spot you through the corner and blowing up. So fill in your corners. Don't just skip this little part right here. And then me being me, I want to use glass right here. You can actually on this part, if you don't put any lighting up here or anywhere close to up here, you could use regular glass here if you want to, or you could just use any solid block. But again, Prowl being Prowl, I like to see mobs fall down, so I'm going to use tinted glass, so I both keep it dark and I can see my mobs drop down the chutes, and make sure it kind of gives you a way to make sure that the mobs are falling. You can see them falling, you feel like it's doing something if you can see them. So I just like to have that. Now you're going to want to be inside of here, and you're going to want to count down from the top. 1, 2, 3, and on that 4th block you're going to want to put 2 buttons on one side, 2 buttons on another side, and then put water. Oh, what did I just do there? And then put water right here. What this is going to do, it's going to reset the fall of our creepers. So even if they fall from really high, they're not going to get drop killed. They're going to fall through this. It resets their fall height, and then when they hit down here, they don't die. They'll have like 1 hit from a trident before they get killed. So it puts them in a perfect spot. And then at this point, you're done with the chute. You can throw in your 1 to 3 tridents. We'll throw in 3 here. 1, 2, 3. You close your door. You turn this bad boy back on wherever I put that lever. Where is it? There it is. And now that Trident Killer is working. But now with 1 done, I need to make 8 more of them. So I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll see you guys on the other side for the spawning platform. Okay, with all of our Trident Killers in, I did run redstone to like just 1 of the blocks on each one of these. So we have redstone run to each one of these. You can run it however you want to, just redstone dust repeaters, and then it all goes to the same lever right here. So I could flick that 1 lever off and on, and it turns all of them off and on. Just a nice little convenience feature to have. But the next thing is we actually need storage before we go up top, and storage is going to be pretty easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come underneath one of these mud blocks right here. So this block right here, I'm going to go in front of that, and I'm going to put some double chests down. We probably don't need a whole lot. We'll do something like this where we have it go maybe 5 high, 5 across, 5 high. Put hoppers in the back of all the chests. Face one of these hoppers, put a temporary block right there, run some hoppers across just like this, run those guys into that. And now we just need to run the underneath side of only one of the here, just because it's getting a little hard to see. I'm going to turn on night vision. There we go. Should make it a little bit easier for everybody. We only have to run a hopper underneath one of the mud blocks on each side. We can just easily just run them all together. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, am I going the right way? That's going the right way. Okay, so we have to branch out from this. Don't make that mistake, people. Don't make that mistake. And also make sure all of your hoppers are facing the right direction. None of them are facing down either. And again, always start from like the middle area and work your way out. That way the flow is going right. I almost messed it up again, is why I'm telling you guys. Make sure you don't pull a Prowl. Look them all over. Like I just noticed that I placed some here that are facing down. Look them all over. But as you can see, all of them like connect into each other, and all the items work their way to the center here. Now we can do one simple test to make sure that we actually have them all going to the center. Just take a stack of anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Go to each one of these guys. I recommend probably having it turned on for this. That way the items actually do make their way into the hopper. Get kind of close here. Look up. Throw 1 block into each one of these. I need to keep track of which one I started with. I'm going to leave that door open. Throw a block into each one of these guys. And then once you do that, don't forget the center one. Once you do that, you should be able to go down bottom and see that you have 9 of them. If you don't, then that means you have a hopper facing the wrong way somewhere. Good to test this now rather than find it out later. Also, I'll note, since we use the mud here, it actually allows us to just put the hopper directly under. We don't need to have a hopper mine cart or anything like that. So it's just a nice convenience factor to have. Also, I want to answer one thing I always hear about Trident Killers from people. If you have a slower device, an older phone, maybe even a middle-aged phone, a Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, like those types of older devices, you're probably going to run across times where your tridents disappear. This will happen when you log off and log back on. What happens is when you log in, the tridents load first and then the blocks load. So the trident ends up thinking it's not on anything and it falls. So when you see that happen, you may find your trident just on the floor below. You may find it down there on the ground, or unfortunately it may have fallen all the way down and fallen through the world. So there's nothing you can do about it. If you're on a mid to faster speed device, you probably won't have that problem. If you're on a slower device, you may have that problem. Maybe just use less tridents. I don't really have any other advice I can give you. Anyways, now that we've done that, I should be able to run down here, hopefully, and go to my first chest in the line here, and I only have 8. That means I have messed up somewhere. Aha, here it is. And there it is. So next you're going to want to come up here to this part. You can get rid of that gold block, or it was a gold block for me. Your center point block, you can get rid of that. And from each one of these, you're going to want to make each of them into a 6x6 platform. So from each one, counting the block there, going out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each one of these guys, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then filling that in to have a full size platform. In your 6x6 platform, you're going to stack up 2 blocks diagonal, like away from the corner here. What this does is it makes sure that no matter where a spider tries to spawn, he will always collide with a block. Every single one of these spots that you look at, if a spider spawns there, since he spawns with this body bigger than this block, he'll collide with this block, so he won't spawn. Spiders are blocked. Now for us to block the other mobs and make it so we only get creepers, we cover the ceiling of this thing right here. And to make this a creeper only spawn, we have to put trapdoors here, because creepers, oops, have to make sure you get it right. And I know this is going to be a pain in the butt to do. This is probably the most annoying part of the whole project, but it's something that has to be done, because zombies and skeletons, they require 2 full blocks of height to spawn. They need this much space. Creepers are 1.8 blocks tall, meaning they only need this much space. This platform can now only spawn creepers. Now, we need multiple of these platforms. What we're going to do is, from our corner platform we just made, we're going to end up making another 3 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Skip a block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the same thing going this way too. We need to go skip a block and go another 6. Skip a block and go another 6. And then what you should find here, I'm going to fill all this in, but you'll find that you have a 1 block gap on each side, and you'll have a total of 9 platforms here. We have 9 of them. We're going to do this same thing on all 4 sides. Now, I will point this out to those of you that maybe haven't started building this yet. This is my preferred size for this to get the most spawning out of this, but you wouldn't have to make this big if you don't want to. You could cut out, let's say, this entire outer row and just have these 4, 4, 4, and 4. So you could make this thing smaller if you want to, but what you can't do is you can't make it any larger. Let me get this platform filled in, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, so I've got the beginnings of this set up. I'm going to show you the rest of it here in a little bit, but we got to talk about a couple things first that are really important. First of all, we need to use coral fans around every single one of these platforms. And this is actually going to be extremely important, because it has to do with how pathfinding for mobs works. Mobs, for whatever reason, think that they can walk over top of these coral fans. You should see here that once this creeper decides to start his pathfinding, he will probably, there he goes, he just walked himself right over the edge and fell down. This does not work with buttons. This does not work with signs. And you do not want to even put something like trapdoors here, because what you may end up finding is sometimes is that the mobs will stop on, or maybe even skip over that trapdoor and not fall all the way down. I don't know if Mr. Creeper here is going to give us a demonstration. Nope, he's going to walk a different way. Let's try another one. And he did fall off. But here's another one of the problems that we may end up having. So let's say you have a creeper right here, and he falls off this way. He could, given enough space and enough of a push, land right there. take some fall damage from higher up and get stuck there and then have to wait to start pathfinding again. So do not use trapdoors on this. I know a lot of people want to. Coral's not that bad to get, the coral fans. All you need is bone meal, water, and silk touch. Those are the things that you need. If you bone meal the ground underneath water, you'll get some coral fans to pop up, and then you can use silk touch to gather them. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is like why we're going with this size and just kind of how you need to think about things if you're going to ever go through and design something like this on your own. I don't know why I put that right there. I need to put an armor stand right here, a banner in its hand, and bam. This is a resource pack that I have made by Foxy No Tail, and it shows the spawning sphere. This is the area in which mobs can spawn and not spawn. The green area, if that armor stand is you, the player, the green area is the no spawn zone. It's 25 blocks in a sphere around the player. Mobs can't spawn that close to you. That way a creeper doesn't spawn on top of you and you get blown up and killed. Between the green and the red is the spawnable area, and this is for Simulation 4 specifically. Outside of the red area, no mobs can spawn on Simulation Distance 4. This is a 44 block sphere from the player. Remember, we talked about 44 blocks earlier. That means mobs can spawn everywhere between green and red. Now, if you're playing on Simulation Distance 6, 8, 10, or 12, then this red sphere actually gets a lot bigger. Like, it's a lot larger. But we're only designing based off of this for right now, which means we have certain limitations that we can fit into. Well, right now, our platforms fit pretty comfortably within here, but you're gonna see that as we build up, that's not gonna be the case for long. So let me go through, let me finish building these platforms here to finish up our first level, and I'm gonna show you what happens as we build up, so you know the maximum height that you can go on a Simulation Distance 4 world. Okay, I have the first layer all done. I'm using a structure block here. It's just something that I can use in creative mode when I am doing this tutorial for you guys to make things a little bit easier. And you'll see, if you don't know what they do, you'll see what it does here in a second. And we have our spawning sphere turned on. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give it away. We can make this go up a total of 5 layers. So this counting as layer number 1, we can go up a total of 5 times. Okay. You're going to see here that we did cram the first layer down as far as we can. When you go to the very center, all blocks are spawnable. If these blocks were 1 block lower, these guys right here in the intersection, they would not be spawnable, but everything else would be, so it wouldn't be the biggest loss, right? But here, I'm going to go into the structure block. We're going to save this. Now we're going to load, and I am going to move this up by 3 blocks. So we're going to go up from Y level 1 to Y level 4. Before I hit the button, I'm just going to double check it just to make sure. Yeah, this is going to be our new floor level right here. It looks like our bounding box looks good. Perfect. So, because it's a big pain in the butt when you don't load this right. We're going to hit the load button. Now you see we have our second floor. So you're going to build 2 floors. Let's make it go up another 3 or go up to 7. Okay, now we have a 3rd floor. Okay, we're getting close to the edge here. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's do it again. Let's go up another 3 to the 4th floor. And actually, I was miscounting. That's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. And this is the top of our 5th floor. So let's go ahead. Let's load one more time. Go to 13, load. And let me trim off the top here, because when you get this high, you're not going to have these blocks at the very top. You're going to stop with, I mean, you may set them down temporarily to put these down, however you got to do it. But let me get rid of all of these blocks up top, because we're going to need to put something else up here. And I'm going to show you something that we're going to need to do with the corner of this. Okay, so got our little spawning sphere back on. And what I'm going to show you here, you only have to make a change to the corners of this top layer. That's it. You want to change anything else. On the corner of the top layer, I want you to knock out those trapdoors in a diagonal fashion. Oh, leave your pillars. So right there across, and what you're going to do is you're going to put pillars up right here. I want you to do that to all 4 of the corners. And then once that's done, you could take a slabs, trapdoors, buttons, anything of that sort to block all of these spots from being spawnable, the ones on the outside edge of those little corners. And that's going to be all that you need to do. And now what you'll see when you go inside on one of them, I think this is the furthest one. Like these spots, I don't know if a mob will despawn there or not, since it's right on the edge. A mob may spawn over here and walk over and despawn, but on all of the other sides, because remember our spot where we're standing is not perfectly center anymore. There's a Trident Killer there. On all of the other sides, it lines up perfectly to where we are using up. Oh, okay. So it looks like maybe two of the sides. It's two of the sides. Two of the sides. We may cut off 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. That's not that big of a deal. Now, if we kind of go in here and look, like our whole farm is inside of here. Now, for those of you that are super technical and you want to, you can make some of these other layers a little bit bigger, right? Like say these bottom 2 or bottom 3, you could bring them out another 1, maybe even another 2 for this bottom one right here, and fill in more of this sphere. Technically, you can fill in all out here and all down there if you want to as well. It's not convenient to have to do, and it starts to get harder to kill the mobs, move the stuff, so we're not worried about doing that. Okay, we're almost done. I'm gonna get rid of that block. We don't need that anymore. Now we need to make walls on the outside here. These walls are going to keep light from getting in from the outside coming in. Your walls would either need to be a solid block of some type or tinted glass. You know me, tinted glass is gonna be my choice. And now with the walls up that I made out of tinted glass, you can make out of whatever you want. Again, tinted glass isn't that bad to get. I have an episode on the Bedrock guide that will have come out this last Saturday, I think, about caving. Go watch it. Shows you how to find amethyst geodes and how to farm them to get a lot of amethyst shards really quick to make something like this. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna throw a little border on this, mostly because I think it's gonna look good. But after we throw our border on, we're going to cover the top in tinted glass. You remember earlier in the beginning of the video, I mentioned surface spawn versus cave spawn. Us using tinted glass up here allows us to trick the game into thinking that this top layer right here is all surface spawns, not cave spawns. This gets us an extra 5 mob cap versus putting a solid block up here. Do not put solid blocks up here. Yes, it used to be the case that you could do a solid block with slabs on the top. That stopped being a thing like 3 years ago or something. It's been a while. You can technically do leaves. I don't remember the height that it has to be, but the leaves have to be, I think, like 8 blocks above the farm, because the light level decreases more the more you go below the leaves. But they also have to go about 15 blocks out from the farm in each direction. I don't know. I just think they're a pain in the butt. I don't like the way that it looks. I don't like having to get that many leaves. Not that it's that hard to do, but it's not for me. So I like the tinted glass look better. I think it works better. It's overall, the tinted glass I think is the way to go. And bam, there we go. Now we do have to do one last little thing here. I'm gonna grab, I guess I'll probably do buttons. And we need to make these the top of this thing spawn proof as well, just to be sure that nothing happens to spawn up on top of the farm here. And bam, look, that thing is nice and dark. I turned my night vision effect off, that way you guys could see. And now we're able to start spawning mobs in here. But we need to get one thing first. And that thing is our looting 3 sword. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enable mob spawning on the world here. I've had it off during this time just to make doing things a little bit easier to show you guys how it all works. I'm going to turn mob spawning back on. And you're going to see in the top right hand side of my screen, I'm going to turn this on. Hopefully it's not too loud. And you're going to see in the top right hand side of my screen that monsters number is starting to rise. That's how many creepers we have spawning right now. There's 13 creepers alive currently. Now, the way that we know that this is going to be a good farm is if that number doesn't go above and stay above 16. It's okay if it goes above a little bit, but if it's staying above 16, it probably means that our mob cap up top is full, and that like we could be spawning more mobs. We're not killing them fast enough. If the number stays too low, if it stays in like the 3, 4, 5 range, we're killing the mobs quick, but we're not spawning them fast enough, and it means we need more spawning spots. So we always want to find that good balance to where we're killing them at a good enough speed based on how fast we're spawning them. And watching that number right now, we're pretty good. We're staying in like the low teens. It does dip down a little bit in the lower realm. It does get above 15, 16 sometimes as well. I've run this test on this farm before. So overall, we've done pretty good here. A little bit overkill on our killing mechanism, but we do have tons and tons of creepers spawning up there. We have a lot of spawning spots available, and you probably wouldn't want to do, like, if you did only 4 of these little drop shoots, you would have over 16 mobs pretty frequently. I've tested that as well. That's why we did 9. It was just a number that felt like it worked, so that's why we did it. Now, in terms of rates on this thing, I have tested rates on this farm. I ran it for a couple hours, and in that couple hour period of time, we were averaging 4,000, just shy, like 3,960 or something like that. So let's just call it 4,000 gunpowder per hour from this farm. 4,000. That, for Bedrock Edition, that's a lot. I mean, this thing has only been running for a short period of time right now. We've been only talking for, where do I go? We've only been talking for like a minute or so here. If I go down here and look already, oh, I left a redstone lamp in there. First of all, look, we have over 2 stacks of gunpowder just in a few seconds that we've been talking here. And what I love about this thing is it's super easy to make. I like it better than all of the other solutions out there. You may hear about something called Insta Push. We used to have that in the corner spawning, and it kind of went away. There's some new farms out there that do use Insta Push. They are faster, but the problem with them is you have to build them at certain coordinates in the world and in a certain shape, design. It's a pain in the butt. I hate mechanics like that, because who knows if in the next update it's still going to work that way. I don't know. You're going to risk your creeper farm being unusable. Something like this here that uses the intended mechanics of the game is future proof outside of some type of major change, which I will almost guarantee won't happen at this point, because now in terms of how mobs spawn, we have parity with Java Edition. This is the way that it works on Java. So there should be nothing that makes this farm obsolete outside of them getting rid of simulation distance or something like that, which I don't think is going to happen. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, this video, this tutorial. If you did, would you mind dropping the channel a subscribe to the channel for more great videos like this? I have a guide series that teaches you both simple and complex parts of the game, so you'll definitely want to check that out, on top of doing tutorials and other things related to Minecraft too. If you haven't liked the video already, hopefully you enjoyed the farm. If you did, then you should probably like the video too. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time. Bye-bye.